Okay, I think I'm back. Okay, I don't know what's going on, guys. I'm sorry. Please let me know if you guys see me again, okay? You guys see me now? I don't know what happened. It just it froze. Okay, thank you. Y'all, I have zero clue what in the world happened. But thank you for getting me back on. I appreciate that very, very much. So I am just continuing to add. Now, obviously, as you see, there's like a bunch of pieces. Some are definitely way too big, and that's fine. I will trim those down. And I am going to ink my paper here. Kind of like what I did already with this piece here. Just to bring in some different elements. Thank you guys for coming back. I appreciate it. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Not only did my body wake up on the fritz this morning, but evidently my internet has decided to be on the fritz too. But I do appreciate you all for popping back in and hanging out with this crazy girl here. I really do appreciate it a lot. So this is actually, as you can see, I cut this off of a piece of paper because it had the barcode. But on the back side, I kept it because backside doesn't have any of those markings. So, you know, we can totally add these in here. And when I glued this down, I glued it down the middle, leaving this front open just in case if I want to tuck stuff underneath, you know, because that way it gives me that option. Hi, Miss Tracy. Thank you guys again for coming back. Oh, today's just been a day. How about that? And then we're gonna come, and I'm gonna actually come on top with the blue. It definitely does have a mind of its own. It does whatever it wants to, that's for darn certain. Okay, so gluing that down. And then I left this just a tad bit open. And I'm going to tuck this underneath of it. Actually, let's do yellow. So we have a lot of green, so let's do some yellow. Well, we're out of the World Cup. I don't know if hubby was asking about it, and I didn't watch the game yesterday. Maybe I should have. I would have given them some good luck or something. I don't know. Okay, so put that piece down there. Let's integrate this piece over here. Maybe. Because now this one I'm going to cut the butterfly out and the word happiness, and we can add those. So that's we're doing something different there. What do I have here? Oh, so this is some of my coffee dyed lace. Let's add a piece of this. And let's layer it with, what do I want to layer it with? We're gonna layer it over this. Yes, take two. Yeah. Thank you for coming back. So, for anybody who may be just catching me, I am in Dusty Granny's event group, and today it is summer snippets or pretty journal papers. So we will have creators all day coming in, and they will be doing papers or snippets, anything that's summer themed in this journaling event. And I am doing snippet because I do want to have this for my lemon journal that I am currently working on. And as much as I love to collage and everything else, these always end up taking me a good bit of time to create. I don't know if it's just me, but it always takes me a tad bit of time to get these done. You can do these sewing. So if you have a sewing machine, you can do these with sewing. And yes, you can sew paper with your sewing machine. Just know that if you do you know, if you do it a lot, you're going to want to make sure that you know how to clean out your sewing machine so that you can get, because you're gonna have paper fibers that are gonna end up collecting, and so you definitely want to make sure that you get that cleaned out. Yay! That'll be so fun. That'll be fun to see. So Miss Amy just said that she might try sewing with her machine tonight. That is a fun idea right there. Yeah, it is fun. It just, you know, it's like even when you're sewing fabrics, you know, you got to play with the tension and stuff like that. I am no sewing expert by no means, but I do like to play with my sewing machine. So, just in case if you were wondering, I am no expert, but I do like to play with my machine. Try not to stick to your board to your table like I just did. That's definitely not a good thing to do. Try to add this little piece down here. I'm just kind of wiping off all the excess glue, just using that. But that sounds like a lot of fun. Have you done it before, or will this be like your first time doing it, Miss Amy? Will we be the guinea pigs? Nothing wrong if we are. I'm just saying. Okay? Nothing wrong if we are the guinea pigs. Totally cool with that. Hi there, Miss Wendy. I'm sorry. I had some technical difficulties and had to restart. But thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. You sewed a tag pocket on a live once. Okay, so it's the first time you're doing a snippet. Cool. So y'all stay tuned, because again, we don't know what we're gonna see, and there's all kinds of amazing creatives on here. So it is bound to be a day packed with wonderful creativeness. So please stay tuned to the event. Up after me will be Miss Lisa Ferguson. She is up after me, and I am curious to see what she's going to be making, because we have such amazing creators. Y'all are always just so talented, and I always feel like I'm like in a whole nother crazy league then maybe I shouldn't. But you know, we all have our talents, and we can all learn from each other. So no matter where you're at in your crafting, you can always pick up tips and tricks from everyone. Okay, that just felt like there was a lot there and I had to break it up, so that's why I put that there. Okay, let's add some more of this book page here towards the bottom. Oh, my pleasure. I'm sorry I'm not on my best A game today. My body decided to wake up on the fritz today. So for the most part, as you guys can see, this has been, you know, bits and pieces of stuff that I have that have been, you know, part of my extra just laying around, because, you know, when we're creating, we keep those little extra pieces of paper and we keep those strips of fabric. So, you know, the word snippet comes not just from what we're using, because we're using little snippets. Hey there, Miss Ruthie. So we're not only using leftover little snippets that we have, but then you can take this and you can snip pieces and add them to stuff, okay? So it's kind of got like this double meaning name, if that makes sense. Alright, and so like I said, here is where we get to now kind of embellish it. I am going to trim it up a little bit because I did kind of go a little crazy on some of these pieces here. So, you know, some of the excess I will trim off. You don't always have to trim the excess. You can leave the excess. It can just be, you know, some of your extra, like down here, see how there's like bits and pieces left over? That's fine. This is too much, so it's got to go. Just like this piece here is too much, so we're going to tear it off. Yeah, I am definitely not tearing that piece. So we're gonna cut that. Let's see what else. Oh, that's fine. I'm just gonna ink it since it does have some white, and I'm okay with that being on the edge. That's totally fine right there. let's see, what do we have? That little bit is okay. This little bit can stay because, you know, could actually add a little bit of glue and almost turn this into like a little rosette piece. So I love crepe paper. Used it a lot when I was growing up for crafts and decorating. Alright, so that's good. These pieces are definitely way too small. That is going in the trash. Definitely not keeping that. Okay, so this is my, you know, snippet. It is 12 inches long because I did cut a 1.5 inch base strip out of just some cardstock that I had, okay, and used it as my base. Now, remember I had this piece of paper and I said, oh, we could totally use this. So I want to cut out the word happiness and add that here. So we're going to come, oh, and the bird is kind of on it, so we're going to leave the bird and we're just going to fussy cut the image out of this piece that I had left from another piece of paper that I had cut. And like I said, this was in my bag of pieces of paper. When you are cutting, it is easier if you move your paper than your scissors. Now sometimes you have to stop and open your scissors or make them smaller, but for the most part you do kind of want to just move your paper instead of your scissors. So how is everyone doing today? It is Tuesday. Tuesday. Miss Wendy, I have not checked, but did you, I tagged you in my chat of my group, and I was asking you something, but I'll be honest, I haven't checked to see if you replied or not. Because I was totally confused about your work schedule. And I know it's a lot of adjusting because you're still having to adjust to it yourself. So, okay. We may just have to cut this little bird off. Because, well, yeah. Because if I do, well, he'll be hanging off. It'll be fine. Alright, so the question is, where do I want to add this little, like, piece? I kind of like it here. So we're going to add it here. Yes, it comes off, but I'm fine with that. I'm totally okay with it, you know, coming off. Thank you so much for having me. Again, I am in Dusty Granny's event group, if you are not in this free group, the link is in the description of this video, and you can join the free group. And that way you can see all of today's presenters in one place, and you can also watch all of the replays. So if you do miss out by any means, you know, you can still go back and watch. Okay, so definitely check it out. Let's go ahead and fussy cut the 2 butterflies. So if you ever have a piece of paper and it has an image, a word, you know, don't throw it out. You know, you can totally utilize the images as fussy cuts. That's why many times you'll see us crafters have, we'll pick up children's books, because they're filled with images that we can cut and add to our projects. You know, even if it's all battered up and everything, it is still, you know, very usable. So nothing is discardable. We can totally find purposes for stuff, you know. If you have stickers, you can add stickers as embellishments. You can add rhinestones as embellishments, pearls, you know, like the little half pearls. You could stamp images, especially like since you have a flat surface, you can stamp a good image on here. You can stamp even on fabric. You just have to have the right stamp pad for that. You're gonna want something like a StazOn, because it does go on multiple different surfaces, and it is permanent. It will not come off with water and stuff. It doesn't react to water like the oxides do, like these ones. Okay, so we have these cute little butterflies we can add for little pops of color, and I like it because, you know, we do have little butterflies. You see, we have little butterflies there, so I like that we can add these little pops of color to our project. So I'm actually going to add this one here because I kind of want to have something that comes off a little bit. And then we have a lot of like green down here. Ah, where did my butterfly go to? Where did you go? It decided it wanted to fly into a trash can. So see how I have a lot down here? So I want to kind of break it up, so I'm going to put this other one down here. So thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. Alright, so I am I am here with y'all for another 8 minutes or so, and then Miss Lisa from Fergie's Crafting Connection will be up. We have some amazing creators lined up for today's event, so make sure that you are sticking around for that. Okay, so you know how I'm doing the whole like butterfly thing? This is a napkin, and we actually did this on a live. This is a napkin that we pulled the plies off, and on a piece of wax paper you put a layer of your glue or Mod Podge down, then you put your napkin, and then you put another layer of the glue, and you let it dry, and then it becomes a faux rice paper made with napkins. And as you see, this has got beautiful little butterflies on here. And what's really cool is whatever is white on your napkins is going to have a translucent look. So if you see here, once I go to put this on, you can still see the background, right? Which is really cool. But I'm going to fussy cut, you know, I'm kind of going to fussy cut it out. And I don't worry about the antennae, and I'll show you why, because I'm going to come back with a Sharpie, or you could do any kind of like pen, a permanent pen preferably. You could do even a gel pens with them. And you can, and we're going to draw on the little antennae, because let me tell you, trying to fussy cut out antennae is not easy. Okay, so I'm gonna decide where I want it. I'm kind of leaning to putting it right there. And when you manipulate your napkins like that, they are so pliable. They really become very, very pliable, which is so cool. And a lot easier to manipulate if you like to put napkins and things of that nature onto what's it called, like bottles or anything that requires you to curve that napkin. And if you've ever worked with napkins, you know how finicky they can be, right? So it's a good way to play with them. I still feel like we need something here, so those are you know what, we're gonna get a B. Gonna get a B stamp. Because if you guys remember, my fabric, yes, it has lemons, but it also has bees. So, haha, here we go. I have a bee stamp. So we're gonna add some bees. And I'm gonna pull out. Hi there, Miss Beth, how are you? It's been a while, dear. How are you doing? So because I don't want this to be... Thank you, dear. I appreciate it. So I'm using Stays On because, again, this can go on fabric, this can go on anything, and it'll really hold it. So let's add us some bees throughout. Okay. Now my problem there is that that was not glued down. So let's add us a bee over here. See, so we added a little bee. And I'm going to put one more up there. But you could use any image, of course. I'm just doing this because my fabric has lemons and bees. Oh, thank you, Miss Leslie. What are you cooking for dinner? What are you cooking for dinner? I think hubby said he was going to make meatloaf tonight. And I think he said he wanted rice, so I'll probably cook the rice to go along with that. But you can use a Stays On or a VersaFine. Will work to stamp on different fabrics, and they are a more permanent pigment type ink. Okay. And obviously, you know, we kind of want that, right? Okay, I have a little bit of ink left, so I'm just gonna stamp and get some of this extra ink off if possible. Alright. And then I'll clean that. But this is my... Now, I did it 12 inches long, right? And my book is not 12 inches long. So I normally make mine to fit 8.5 by 11 pages that are folded in half. So my book itself is done at 9 inches. Chicken tikka masala curry. Oh, that sounds good. My daughter loves curry. So this, when I do get ready to utilize it, okay, when I do get ready to utilize it, I will have to do the snipping part, and I will have to trim this down to fit on my page. And then the piece that I have left, I can add, you know, to another page, to a pocket, anything of that nature. So from the looks of it, especially if I want to keep that there, I'm probably going to be cutting like right here and like right underneath. So I'll end up having a piece up here and a small little snippet piece left down here that I can add someplace, right? So cool. But yeah, this is just made on paper, and I used glue. Okay. You can use fabric for your background, and then I have seen people use also the calculator paper because it's very pliable, as well. Okay. I used my cardstock today because I wanted to be kind of sturdy, and not flimsy like if it was fabric, because I want to be able to use this as a belly band. So that is the idea of it. Okay. Now, do you have to make a snippet that is 12 inches long? No, not at all. You can grab, you know, just a piece of paper, and you can decide that you're going to, you know, make a twosie, which is like about a 2-inch piece, and then same thing, just whatever little pieces you have of something you can add on top of it and build up little, you know, cluster like snippets out of, again, your snippets, the pieces that you have left over. So I hope this has inspired you guys to play with your leftovers. You know, grab those pieces of paper that you have left over, grab those strips of fabric, pieces of lace that we have from when we're trimming things down, and create something beautiful. You're collaging. That's what you're doing, okay? They just give it different names. So I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for coming back after the internet decided to glitch. And I hope this inspires you to give it a try. Play with your paper, play with your fabric, play with all the things that you love, my friends. Have fun and enjoy the rest of today's event, okay? I love you guys. And until I see you again, ciao.